Hi, this is Dale, and I'm going to go into how to deal with frame by frame and rigged animation in the same time. So let's start out with some frame by frame. I got Chunky's template up, but I've added this layer here, which is, I call it switch layer timeline. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the clean, and I'm just going to start drawing. I don't like that. I want to see 6. There we go. We can see stuff now. So I'm going to draw a couple of circles just traveling across the screen on 2s. Turn the onion skin on. And I'm only going to do like 3 here. So now I got a frame by frame animation. So what I'm going to do is that now I'm going to push this frame by frame up onto the switch layer timeline. And since I'm on frame 4, okay, I've got the animation still with me on the switch layer, and it only has the one layer here in it. So at frame 4, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'll make a bone layer, and I'm going to add a vector to it. So I'm going to add this vector into this bone layer, and I'm not really concerned here about the visibility. I just want this layer, and I need to see this. So what I'm going to do now is go on to this, to the vector layer, and I'm going to draw just one more. And of course, I'm going to rig it now with the bones. All right. And I'm going to bring it all the way out to frame, say, 12 here. And I'm going to give it a little animation. So now I got this animation going here. All right. So now I'm going to take this layer and I'm going to push it up onto the switch timeline, and I'm going to now make it active. So let's take off the onion skin so we can see what's going on here. So I've got the frame by frame, and now I've got the rigged animation. Okay. And let's go back in here, and we can see that I stop at frame 12. So now I'm going to take this frame by frame 2 and I'm going to duplicate it. I mean, I could go back and start using this one again, but I feel it's better just to duplicate the frame by frame sections, because if you want to delete them, you can go in and you have each layer, you're able to delete it and you're able to move them around a lot easier. So let's just duplicate this layer, and I'm going to go in here and I'm going to go back on the clean. Hey, and I'm going to grab the pen tool. And I want to leave layer 5 up so I can see what's going on. Okay. And I'm going to put the onion skins back on. Now layer 5 is becoming annoying, so I'm going to turn it off. And I'm going to do, say, 3 more frames, and I'll make it 4. Okay, so now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to push this up on the timeline. I'm going to go back into the clean, and at frame 12 is when it started switching over. And actually it went back a little bit. I want to push this down on frame 12. Give it 2 more keyframes. So it goes like that. And since I decided that was going to be my switch, I'm going to go to frame by frame 3. And so now if I turn the onion skins off, I have frame by frame and into rigged animation and back out into frame by frame. Now, let's say I'm not happy with this. I want to move this whole sequence down a little bit. So I want to add the frame by frame here and move everything down. Well, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab both this layer and this layer, okay, and I'm going to pull them off the switch. Okay, it's easier probably to do it one by one. And now I'm going to grab both layers, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to move this layer down a little bit, so that gives me room for some extra frames in here. So now that I've moved it and I'm happy with it, I'm going to bring it back up on the timeline. Come on. So now I've got this blank spot on the timeline. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this and push it down the timeline too. Okay. And you can see where, okay, take a look at the, so this is the first frame by frame. Then there's nothing. And then there's layer 5 and then layer 3. So this guy here is switching to nothing. All right, so what I want to do is I'm going to go in here and I can either delete this key or I can tell it to stay on the frame by frame here. I think I'm going to delete the key. So now the first frame by frame stays till layer 8, then layer 9, the rigged animation, and then the frame by frame. Well, I got this big jump here, so I want to start filling that in. So I'm going to go back to the clean layer, which I was using before. And I had 1 frame, 2 frames, 3. That should be layer 4. So let's go back 1 frame. Okay. And actually I want to go, yeah. And so I want to add, and I want to turn the onion skin back on, go back up to my drawing tools. Now I have a problem here. I can't see layer 5 and where it is in position to layer the first frame by frame. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it off the timeline. Okay, go back up to this frame by frame. And add 1 more frame. And if I add 1 more, now you see I'm overlapping the rigged animation. Since it's here, I want to adjust the rigged animation So I'm going to grab just about everything. Yeah, that's just about everything. And I'm going to pull it down so it starts there. Now I'm at frame 18. I'm going to push this back on because I'm done working with it. Push this one down, and on frame 18, okay, I want to push these frames down. When I'm good to go, put that back up. You want to make sure you're not pushing this stuff. There we go. Now let's go to the main timeline. And as you can see, I added a couple of frames in between now. Just got to remember when you're working with changing the position or changing anything, you got to grab everything and change everything. But, you know, I mean, if you're working within rig and frame by frame, it does work. It's a little, got to do a little thinking about how you're working, but this does work. Thanks for watching.